Welcome, fellow anglers, to the Good Karma Sport Fishing Podcast. I am Captain Ryan Van Fleet, your host here in the Florida Keys. Each week, I bring you fishing tips, stories, gear reviews, and more to help you maximize your fishing trip, catch big fish, and overall have fun. Hey guys, thanks for tuning in. So I was walking to my truck, and my neighbor Dave, sitting on his porch, he said, "Hey Ryan, did you hear that Tread Barta died?" And I was like, "What?" So I kind of I pretty much just stopped, and I was like, "Well, how come I didn't hear about this?" The guy's a legend in the fishing community. So then I got to thinking, I was like, "Okay, well now I know. Yeah, not a lot of people like Tread Barta." So they said he had a big ego, and he was brash, and he was harsh, and oh man, no. Obviously, the people that met him and knew Tread. Tread was a competitor. He was highly competitive. And if you're going to make a living in the fishing industry, you have to be highly competitive and motivated. And Tread was motivated. Now, he suffered a spinal stroke. I think it was in the early 2000s, which pretty much put Tread down. But the guy battled back. He built a boat that he could still go fishing on. He moved to Islamorada. I mean, and then he still wrote his little editorials. And the last editorial I read, I think and then after that, the Florida Sports Fishing Magazine didn't put him in anymore because I think that it pissed a few guys off. But Tread was always down at Worldwide Sportsman. And what I remember and he was in his wheelchair. And he was always down at the dock. Every time I went down the Worldwide, he was down at the dock rigging baits. In his wheelchair. He was down at the dock, rigging baits in his wheelchair, socializing, rigging ballyhoo. He had a custom Andros built. The guy would go to the hump, troll ballyhoo, drive his own boat, and have somebody with him to help mate. But the guy went fishing. The guy fished and hunted still. And I had the opportunity to meet Tread. And I don't know I don't know what everybody was talking about Tread being harsh or brash, but I met Tread in the parking lot at Worldwide. Now, he didn't know me. I was just a young guide at that time. And I went up to Tread, and I shook his hand, and he was extremely soft-spoken, very nice, big smile. And I said, "Hey, man, thank you so much. You're an inspiration to many of us out there." And he shook my hand, and he was so nice. We had a good conversation, and that's how I remember Tread Barta. So, Tread, I'm going to miss you, brother. Tight lines, always, and I'm sure you're up there dragging ballyhoo. Oh, man. I'll see you up there, brother. Okay, so I'm going to share a couple fishing tips with you guys. Like I promised in my last episode about deep dropping. So one of the biggest mistakes I see people make is when they're using chicken rigs and making the drifts over their spots, and all of a sudden the fish stop biting. They're like, "Oh, they stopped biting," but they can still see them on the sonar. So there's a couple things that you guys need to be aware of. Is that one, your chicken rig line, if you're using that 100-pound, 150-pound chicken rig line for multi-hooks, for yellow eye snapper and the Keys. It's I'm just going to give you guys this little bit of hint, man. If the fish are really biting, they'll eat anything, but the spots down in the Keys, man, they get hit hard. So if you're listening to this podcast, I'm going to give you, this is going to be my gift to you guys. And take it or leave it, but you need to lighten up your line. And make your own chicken rigs, okay? So what I use for yellow eye snapper and vermilion snappers, I use 30-pound fluorocarbon, extremely light leader, and I get the bites. And with queen snappers, I'll drop all the way down to 40-pound fluorocarbon, okay? Now, you guys think that the fish can't see down there? Well, you're completely wrong. They can see, and these fish see hooks all the time in the Florida Keys. More so now than they've ever seen them. So just keep that in mind and watch what's going to happen to your catch rates. Now, also, too, if you're fishing an area like the 409 hump, now I did mention that's where the queen snappers are caught. And there's some other queen spots that are further south of the 409 hump down towards Marathon, but I don't get down that far. So when you start seeing those guys out of Bud Mary's posting and out of Angler's House Marina posting pictures of gray tile fish and your queen snappers that are in about 10 to 15 pounds, those guys are fishing the 409 hump. And you'll see them, they'll use the heavy line, but look really close. You're going to see that they make their own leaders. They make their own chicken rigs. Some guys will go up to 60 pound, but like I said, I stick with that 40 pound because that gets me the bites. And I only use 2 hooks. I use an up-down rig, they call it. In other words, I space out the hooks because it's just not natural sometimes for a fish to see 15 squids hanging together, flopping. Now, there's going to be times where the fish are going to eat anything, yes. But those fish are always there for the most part. And when they're not eating, you got to go light to get the bite. And also, too, if there's a lot of boat traffic on the 409 hump, it's best just to pull off and wait till the boat traffic dies off. Now, I learned this trick years ago from another captain up in Miami, whom I'm not going to mention his name because he's been around for several years. And boat noise does affect those fish on those humps. When you get 1,000 boats that are trolling back and forth and over the over the spots, noise travels, man, all the way to the bottom. So you're best just to pull off and wait and go do something else. Try to catch the tunas on the vertical jigs and then wait till it clears and then go back and watch what happens. Okay, so I know what you're thinking, and I'm going to answer this for you guys. Yes, the line does spin up after a couple fish, but I also make up 15 to 20 chicken rigs well ahead of time, and probably more than that, so I can just switch them out really quick. So there's your answer. The stuff does spin up, and really, how many fish do you need? So 5 to 6 queen snappers is a good catch. So there's no sense in catching any more than that because what happens is, and I've seen it, and I'm guilty of it too, is I've destroyed spots in my younger days. I won't do that anymore. So I learned that lesson. I destroyed a queen snapper spot probably about 3 years ago. I just hammered the hell out of it, and the fish left. They didn't come back. They didn't come back for another 2 years. So, so for those of you guys that are hammering holes and fishing the same damn spots every day, it's best that you guys try to learn how to rotate your spots. So take some time and hunt. Look for some other areas. Don't fish the same wrecks. I see the same guys fishing the same wrecks down here, and they fish the same wrecks like every day. And these are charter boat guys. And then another charter boat guy will steal that wreck number, and then that guy will fish it. And that guy doesn't have any numbers. He's just plowing that other guy's numbers, and then boom, the fish are gone. So don't believe me, it happens. So those fish will move, and they catch on, they're gone. So you're better off. You have to like have a number of spots to make them productive. Then deep drop spots. Don't share those deep drop spots. Now the 409 hump, the fish are coming in and out of there, and those spots get hit every day. So the trick is you have to know when they're going to be here, and they're probably going to be here this week. It's the full moon in August and September. So if you're listening to the podcast, then I'd give it a shot. So just keep your eyes on I know you guys watch Instagram. I know you guys watch it. So I don't need to talk anymore about that. So, but I'll just give you a little, when the Bud Mary's guys start catching the queens, load your boat and go down there and get a few yourself. So there'll be a large migration of them. They'll come in, and there'll be plenty of fish for everybody. Just get in line and do your drift. And also, too, another tip is that if the fish quit eating the chicken rigs, then go with one hook. Go with one, 10-foot piece of leader, fluorocarbon leader, and catch them one at a time. Now, the fish that you tend to catch one at a time are big fish. So that's another little tip for you, especially when you're vermilion snapper fishing. I've been fortunate enough that I've been able to stop on top of my directly on top of my Brazilian spots, basically anchor with my Rodan. And there's been times where I only catch them on long leader, and the chicken rig goes empty. So that's another tip for you guys, and as well. And one last tip that I'm going to talk about is the whole no light, no bite thing. I'm going to call BS on this one. So the last golden tilefish I caught, no light, over 800 foot of water. And I know specifically that down in Marathon, barrel fishing guides, some of the guides do not use lights. And I don't use lights when I target these fish, is because it's not natural. So they use ambient light. So that's how they hunt. So you just have to, I'm not going to teach you guys that, but you'll figure out on your own. But I know guides that do not use lights at all. And these guys catch the hell out of the fish, especially barrel fish. Now, when it comes to sword fishing, I have no clue. I'll be honest with you, I'm not a sword fisherman. But I will be messing around with that here in the future, because I'm just in the final stages of putting together the right tools to do it successfully. The Seakeeper is like bottom fishing with a Seakeeper, making and deep dropping. I got to tell you, it's a game changer. Now, I'm not sure if you guys know this or not, but you can schedule a demo through Seakeeper with me to test out the Seakeeper. It's so what happens is that Good Karma, since I am a brand ambassador for Seakeeper, then I can take people out, and you schedule a demo with me, and then I can take you out on my boat and I show you what the Seakeeper does with the 23. So if you want to contact me directly, then we can do that. Then I can put you in touch with Seakeeper, then we can get the scheduling done that way. So I would recommend that, and then I can put you in touch with the sales guy at Seakeeper. That way, you guys get scheduled with me for the demo. So on the 23, not a 25, not a 27. That's all I got for you guys today. I got to get back to work. I've got to make a whole bunch of ballyhoo rigs. So I've still got blue marlin on my mind. For the next 3 weeks, I want to catch a blue marlin. Or I just want to hook one. Oh, my God, I love that fish so much. So last year, my friend Mike and I were out in 800 feet, and we hooked a big one, a real big one, on a Wild Willie Sea Witch on a ballyhoo. He ate every bait in a spread, man, and I just can't get that fish image out of my mind. I want to go get him. All right, guys, tight lines. I got to go. Have a good one. Thanks for listening, and as always, please let me know if you have any questions. You can email me at goodkarmaryan@gmail.com. I'm going to be doing a question and answer podcast, so definitely email me. You can also find me on Facebook at Good Karma Fishing Charters, Instagram at Good Karma Sport Fishing _FL_Keys. Also, please share this podcast with a fellow angler and check out my website, goodkarmasportfishing.com, and sign up for the monthly newsletter and the free fishing tips. I aim to provide you with fishing tips and information so you can make the best out of your time fishing. Thanks for listening, and remember, anytime you're fishing, it's all good.